Alrighty, folks, welcome back to The Slice. Glad to have you here. We are at quarterfinal time at Wimbledon, so we're going to get into that. But first, breaking news from Wimbledon, there have been a couple of murders that have been taking place. And the main suspects are the big three. Each big three member today absolutely walked all over their opponent. We're going to get into those stories, and we're going to look ahead to the quarterfinal matchups and see what they're going to present and who the semifinalists probably are going to be. So let's get into it on this episode of The Slice.
Welcome to The Slice.
Welcome to The Slice.
Welcome to The Slice.
Thanks for tuning in, folks, and thanks for coming back with us. If you're new, hit the subscribe button, and then you'll never be out of date with any of the news that's happening in the tennis world. And if you want the best tennis experience you can have on YouTube, click the link below to go to our Patreon where you can support us grow, support independent tennis journalism, and get in on the front row show that happens every second week, and you get to be a part of it. So check that out below. So let's get into what happened today on the grounds of Wimbledon. Novak Djokovic, Roger Federer, and Rafael Nadal absolutely went to town on their opponents, having no mercy. None of them dropped a set. None of them even really came close to dropping a set, and it was just absolute beatdown city. Djokovic beat a young kid named Hugo Hubert from France, who took out Felix Auger-Aliassime in the last round. So some impressive tennis there. But I was looking forward to, personally, Djokovic versus Felix in the quarterfinals because I thought that would be a great matchup of the present and the future, obviously, because Felix is our guy. He's from Canada, just like us. And I think he's an absolute beast, and he's going to be winning Grand Slams in the future for sure. But he got taken out by this guy named Hugo Hubert, who no one I'd never heard of coming into this, but has some sweet. He's super skinny. Like, he's played skinnier than Djokovic by a lot, but he's packed some serious punch. But Djokovic handled him with no problems at all today. And then Nadal took out João Sousa 6-2, 6-2, 6-2 after João Sousa took out friend of the show, Dan Evans, in a 5-set epic. I was so sad that Dan Evans couldn't make it through that match. And he actually was very close at the end there, and he lost it on match point. He had an easy little drop shot put away, and he just missed it, and then that was the end of the match. But it was cool to see all of England rallying behind Dan Evans after his comeback from a cocaine suspension. If you didn't know this, I got to interview him personally in Vancouver last year, but while his ranking was much lower, he had to qualify for the Challenger that was in Vancouver, and he ended up winning that tournament, qualifying for the Australian Open, playing Federer in the second round, and now making it to the third round of Wimbledon. So really cool to see him make that progression. And I got to see him again in Miami, and we recognized each other. We were like, what's up? So I've put out all that content, but you can check it out by going to the channel. But Nadal then took Sousa, who won that epic, and just absolutely took him to the slaughterhouse, winning 6-2, 6-2, 6-2. Nadal is looking very comfortable on this grass. And then Federer today absolutely murdered Matteo Berrettini. So Berrettini's been playing very well as of late. He played well on the clay, but then he's also played super well on the grass. I didn't know he was so young. I saw him in Miami, and I was like, oh, this guy's got a big game, but pretty inconsistent. He's only 22 years old. This kid can ball. And some people would have thought that he could give Federer some problems because Federer hasn't maybe been playing tip-top notch so far yet at Wimbledon, but that was not the case. Berrettini didn't really show up with his first serve. He served under 50% first serves in, which is not going to cut it against somebody like Federer, the greatest all-time grass court player. And Federer just absolutely went to town, playing beautiful strokes, getting 70% of his first serves in, which is a big deal for him, and just doing whatever he wanted. It was honestly an absolute masterclass on grass. So there you have it. That's the big beatdowns that went down today, and that sets up our quarterfinals. And here they are. It's Novak Djokovic versus David Goffin on the top, and then we have Guido Pella, who took out Milos Raonic, and Kevin Anderson before that, versus Roberto Bautista Agut, two clay courters who are in the quarterfinals, signaling that the grass is slower this year than it has been, I would say, because most of the big hitters have gone out and been replaced by clay court specialists. And then the third quarterfinal we have is Sam Querrey versus Rafael Nadal, an intriguing matchup there. And then lastly, we have Federer versus our old quarterfinal star, Kei Nishikori. So we're going to get into all four of these matchups. The biggest things I've noticed is this is the most dark horses we've had in the quarterfinals of a Grand Slam, I think, for a while. There's only 4 top 10 players in it, so half of them, and then one of them's unseeded. and 2 of them are 26th and 23rd and 21st, or 3 of them are, those are their rankings. So we got some guys who kind of came out of nowhere to make it to the quarterfinals. Like I would say Pella, Roberto, Bautista, Agut. David Goffin, I would say, belongs there. He's a great player, and he's just had some injuries, and that's dropped his ranking, and he's been playing really well on the grass. So speaking about David Goffin, let's get into that matchup. We have Djokovic versus Goffin, number 1 player in the world versus Goffin. So it's obviously the champ versus the challenger. Djokovic is the defending champion, and he's playing very well on the grass so far at Wimbledon. He has dropped a set, so he has looked vulnerable in some ways. And David Goffin and Djokovic holds a 5-1 head-to-head record. But David Goffin's been playing very well on the grass. He made it to the final of Halle and got beat by very good Roger Federer there, obviously. But he's been playing aggressive, and he seems to be taking massive cuts at the ball, which he has, and just playing fearlessly. He's had some tough, long matches before this matchup, so he should be tired, which is going to favor Djokovic, obviously, because in their game, if Djokovic is going to be able to play his game, which the big three are so good at doing, that's what they do. They implant their game on the match, and they set the tone. So I'm assuming Djokovic will be able to do that in this match, and Goffin being tired from these matches won't help him. But if Goffin can really attack Djokovic's second serve, he can make a difference in this match. He's a great counterpuncher. Djokovic is playing with more pace this tournament, and he's standing closer to the baseline, trying to get his ball to go through the court more. But Goffin's a great mover and a great counterpuncher. So this is going to be a really intriguing match, I think. If Goffin could play very high level and get Djokovic off his game a bit, we could have a match here. Or it could be 3 sets Djokovic. You don't know. I'm obviously leaning Djokovic in this matchup, but Goffin is a worthy opponent, and he has beaten Djokovic before. And in that matchup, he was absolutely attacking Djokovic's second serve. So we'll look for that again. But I'm calling Djokovic moving through that match in probably about 4 sets, maybe 3. And then maybe it's going to go to be an epic, and we don't know who's going to come through. But you got to favor Djokovic because he's a big-time player, and that's what big-time players do. They don't lose in the quarterfinals when you're the defending champion. Unless you're Roger Federer at the Australian Open. But that was the 4th round, I think, against Tsitsipas. But anyways, next up is Guido Pella versus Roberto Bautista Agut. Now, that's something I did not think I would be saying at Wimbledon this year. But as I said in my pre-Wimbledon video, the quarterfinals that were laid out with the top 8 seeds, I said that would not happen. And that is true. Only half those guys made it to the quarterfinals. So we have Pella versus Roberto Bautista Agut. Anyone who's going to act like they're an expert on this matchup is acting a fool. But all I do know is Guido Pella is on an absolute roll. He's taken out 2 Wimbledon finalists in Kevin Anderson and Milos Raonic. And he seems to have been playing his clay court game on the grass court. He's like grinding players out. I don't know if it's because I don't know how this is working. He's using a lot of topspin, keeping balls high. Maybe that's keeping it high and deep is not allowing these players to step in and play that aggressive grass court style, but it's been working for him. So we're going to see if he can outgrind Roberto Bautista Agut, which I don't think he will be able to do because Roberto Bautista Agut holds a 2-0 head-to-head record against him, and he's been playing very well this year in general, and he just came out of nowhere sneaking up the draw to be in the quarterfinals. So I'm leaning Roberto Bautista Agut in that matchup, just because I think he's a better player in general, and Guido Pella's run should end at some point, but you never know. It's going to be an interesting match to watch. Next up, we have Rafael Nadal versus Sam Querrey. And now this is an interesting matchup because it's kind of the stereotypical, archetypal matchup between a big hitter on the grass court in Sam Querrey, who's always done here and has had big upsets in the past at Wimbledon, versus Nadal, who's obviously grass is his probably worst surface. But at this year's Wimbledon, the grass seems to be a bit slower, and Nadal's looked more comfortable than I think he's ever looked on the grass, playing well. He's learned how to play better fast court tennis in these last couple years as well. But Sam Querrey hit 25 aces in his last match, and he's serving absolutely huge. So if he can rattle Nadal, I think he can make a difference in this match. Obviously, Nadal played well and beat Kyrgios, who's obviously a big server and a danger on grass, but it was an extremely tight match. He lost the second set, and he only got break points against Kyrgios in the first 2 sets. He didn't see any in the second 2. So he lost the second set and then won the third and fourth in a tiebreaker. And Kyrgios didn't play that great in those big moments. We'll see what Sam Querrey can do. You got to lean Nadal because he's been playing so well and he's got that repertoire. But there is a danger in Querrey. And if he's really feeling it, if he's rock rolling, and if somehow the conditions get a bit faster on center court when they play, it could be a problem for Nadal. I obviously don't expect it to be a problem because, like I said, Nadal statistically is the best returner in the game right now. So I expect Nadal to move through in this tournament or in this match. I'm not calling an upset alert, but there is a danger alert because Sam Querrey knows how to pull an upset off at Wimbledon. It ain't his first rodeo, as the 31-year-old knows. So that's that. I'm calling Nadal coming through that matchup. And then we have Nishikori Federer. Now, I went off on Nishikori in the French Open for always getting to the quarterfinals and then just getting murdered by one of the big three. I kind of expect that to happen again because Roger Federer in the quarterfinals of Wimbledon is not a sight that you want to see. He's been playing good. Federer's first serve percentage is getting higher. It was 70% in the last match. He only had 5 aces, but I think that's because Berrettini's so long. He kind of got a racket on every ball, but it's not like he got many of them back in. Federer's, when he's getting his first serve in, he's winning about 90% of the points in this tournament, which is insane. And Nishikori is obviously a bit higher caliber player than he's played in so far, but he has played some good players. Like Luca Pouille is a great grass court player. His backhand I've seen people say that his backhand hasn't looked as good, and he's been slicing more than he has in the past couple of years. And my thoughts on that are against a player like Nadal, and I think Nishikori, where they're great baseliners, and they're not maybe Nishikori, but more Nadal are going to do damage. Federer's going to want to be more aggressive on both wings against Nadal because that's what's worked in the past. That's why he's won most of their recent matches. He's gone over the backhand a lot and been super aggressive with it. I think he'll do that when he gets to Nadal if he gets there. But against a guy like Luca Pouille and then a guy like Berrettini, Luca Pouille wasn't hitting hard. He's a better counterpuncher. He's not really the power player, and he was slicing a lot. So Federer, I think, probably just went back into his old mode. Look, I'm just going to slice and dice today. I can win with that, which he did. And my slice is fine. It's what's won me so many majors before. And he wasn't coming over his backhand as much. And when he did, he looked a bit uncomfortable. I think he's still getting used to this grass. And then against Berrettini, he didn't come over as much as either, but that's because Berrettini looks so uncomfortable out there that Federer probably felt like he was in the driver's seat at all times, and he did his thing. So I think when he plays higher caliber players coming forward, like if he plays Nadal and then maybe Djokovic, he's going to come over it more and he's going to be more aggressive. But this slower court is probably not making him happy, and it might be affecting his confidence with that overhand backhand. But I don't know. Part of me thinks that, yeah, I don't really know why he would be choosing to go over the backhand less now. But it hasn't been a problem, obviously, for him so far because he's only dropped the one set in the first round. And I talked about that last time, how that's not really a problem for him because the guy who's playing capitalized on 1-for-1 break point chances. So anyways, I think Federer's doing well besides what people have been saying. And obviously, he looked great today playing a starstruck Berrettini who didn't play well at all. I think Nishikori, if Nishikori doesn't do something to get Federer off his game, it's going to be a straightforward walkthrough for him. If Federer gets a bit tight and doesn't serve a high first serve percentage and Nishikori returns aggressively, that will hurt Federer and that will make him do things he shouldn't do. And then that can make the match interesting. Obviously, I'm going with Federer in this matchup to set up another Nadal for the second major in a row. That would be crazy. On clay, obviously goes Nadal's way. On grass, if it doesn't go Federer's way, you got to think that hurts that GOAT race a little bit, and that makes it very interesting. But that's for another video and for another time. Right now, we got Djokovic, Goffin, Pella, Roberto, Bautista, Agut, Querrey, Nadal, Nishikori, and Federer. My predictions are that the semifinals are going to be Djokovic, Bautista, Agut, which is scary for Djokovic because Bautista Agut has beaten him twice already this year, 2-0 record against him. And then Nadal Federer in the other semifinal, which is an absolute blockbuster. We don't even need to talk about it. It's like Wimbledon 2008 finals again. Whew! I can't wait. Can you? It's going to be a crazy next few days. I'm traveling a bit, so in the next few days. So some of these videos that'll be coming your way are going to be from on vacation mode, but I'm sure that won't bother you guys. Thanks for being a part of this. Leave your predictions below. What do you think about what's been going on? And thanks again for checking out the Slice front row. That's the link below. That's all I got for you today. We're waiting for these quarterfinal matchups to go down, and I'm so excited. We will see you after them for a semi-final preview. See you guys soon. Thanks for watching, folks. This has been the Slice Tennis News. Subscribe down below by clicking this green button over here. Check out this other video about the style watch. Amazing styles at Wimbledon this year. Very new. Never seen them before. Wink. And check out the Slice front row to support independent tennis journalism. Thank you. We'll see you next time.